Right everyone, welcome back to What the Devil episode 24. We are back in the studio after a couple of weeks hiatus. Last week we were online, but we're back in the studio. Me and Nick today are joined by Marcel. Welcome back. It's always great to have you.
Thank you.
And we're going to jump straight in to the news about Ligt. There's been so many transfers, stuff in the last 4 days. There was the recruitment meeting on Monday. And since the recruitment meeting, there's been bids for Branthwaite, there's been talks for Zirkzee, there's been Ligt, there's been Yoro, there's been even Ugarte. I can never, is it Ugarte or Ugarte? I don't know. Yeah. But either way, we're going to start with Ligt. So the news is that, United and Bayern are getting ever closer to that bid of 42-ish million is the number that's being thrown around a lot. I've heard that it'll hope to be a little bit lower, but I think that's just United hoping around more like 38. But Ligt, personally, I reckon this is a low risk, high reward signing. As long as the wages are low, we've spoken about this before, as long as the wages, I think he's on about 220k a week at Bayern. Maybe if he even takes a wage cut or something, Ineos, we know that they're, they want to pull back what's the wage structure. And if he's already accepted a deal, then clearly Ineos have given him a wage that they feel is comfortable, that he's agreeing with. And so apart from that, I really don't see many issues. There's obviously the injury thing, but with the whole overthrowing of our injury department, there's 2 new people left the other day, and there was one left a while ago. You got O'Driscoll doing his thing. Yep. The injuries hopefully won't be an issue. So again, I just I find it hard to find a downside to this signing.
Yeah, no, I'm all for it. 100%, I agree. Listen, this kid. First of all, I say this kid. He's 24 years old, but first of all, I love the fact that he's basically told his agent that no negotiations with any other clubs. I only want United. I love that Mateus talked to me because last season, we chased De Jong for how long? We knew he never wanted to come to the club, but we were kind of willing to accept it anyway. But we knew his heart would never really be in it. Whereas De Ligt has said from the get-go, no, listen, don't negotiate with anyone else. I only want Man United. And if he does take...
Oh, that was cold! I got done there. That was so cold.
If he has taken a pay cut, then wow, to show that level of commitment to come to United is amazing. And look, 24 years old, he's played at Bayern Munich, at Ajax, at Juventus, 3 huge, monumental European clubs. So I don't think the idea of him being at a big club is gonna
phase him
whatsoever. Yeah. He'll be completely fine. There is a little downside in terms of it hasn't necessarily gone really well at the clubs that he's gone to. Obviously at Bayern Munich, it's kind of been a bit funny. He's been dropped a few times. The stuff with Nagelsmann's been going on, Thomas Tuchel. And again, Juventus didn't really go too well for him there either. But to be fair to him, he went to Juventus at a really tough time. They just lost he won the league the first season he was there, but then they lost it for the first time in 9 years. Same thing with Bayern. He wins it in his first season, then they don't win it for the first time in 11 years, and that's not down to him. So there are circumstances at those clubs which you can say is the reason why he hasn't been a total success. So I've got no concerns apart from the injury thing. But hopefully with rotation, he'll be fine. And the money makes sense. I love it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, same. Agree with what both of you have been saying, really. I mean, he's a player that, looks like, is well beyond his years. I mean, you've seen leadership qualities at Ajax, especially when he was captain there as well. He's played in the Champions League. Ten Hag knows him as well. I think that's really, really important. In terms of calibre of centre-back as well, I believe he was the Golden Ball winner or Golden Boy, I think, winner of award and the first ever centre-back as well. And I just think he's just a really, really top player. That's the kind of quality that you're going to want within this team, losing the likes of maybe a Casemiro this season and, players that have played in the Champions League. You're going to want to bring somebody in of that calibre as well. And I just think, if we can get him in and another centre-back, that's going to add the floor of the current quality of centre-backs that we have in the club. So at the right price, I'm really happy with what Ineos will be doing right now. So yeah, really happy.
And 42 million, 40 odd million, the right price?
Stagnant, paid in stagnants, I think, in installments.
I think they transfers. If it's not a release clause, I think they're almost always paid over series of, even if they're not, they're amortized over the contract.
I'm really happy about that, Dylan, because I think with that Maguire famously was the whole thing up front, and they paid Leicester City's training ground because we paid the whole 70 or 80 odd up front.
Nuts,
instead of doing it, in increments like how business kind of should be done, and it allows you to be in the market and buy multiple players that way. So, no, I agree with you. Be really happy that it's a footballing structure making these decisions now.
The Ligt at 24 years old for half the price that we got Maguire is maddening.
Exactly.
It's maddening. I can't believe we paid 80, but yeah.
It shows how nuts that Maguire fee was, man.
Yeah, it was.
And just with the Maguire fee, like, and then what, Everton demanding 70 mil for Branthwaite
Really
and
good
using
point.
Maguire as the marker
that's a
when
good
everyone knows that United overpaid for Harry Maguire, and then saying, oh no, Fofana was a similar price. And everyone knows that Chelsea overpaid for Fofana, and then them going, the Gvardiol was a similar price. And Gvardiol doesn't even play centre-back for them. He's been succeeding at City, but at left-back, I can't think of a centre-back. The only one I can think of is Van Dijk. And Branthwaite is not Van Dijk. Not yet. We don't know if he can be.
But he's not ready.
Jared Branthwaite coming into United, let's say he does, is not going to be how the Van Dijk impacted Liverpool.
Yeah. No.
Because Branthwaite will be coming in and he'll be competing with Lisandro Martinez. He'll be competing, well, that's basically it from United. And then if we sign the Ligt, and then let's say if we do or sign Yoro, and then you've also got Luke Shaw who can clearly start filling in as an auxiliary left centre-back, which is Branthwaite's, I think, preferred position, I believe. Left centre-back or right centre-back. Like, I don't understand Everton's 70 million quid demand. Like, we've offered you 50. Bro, we've offered you 50 million. You're building a stadium. You almost got relegated. Take 50 million, bro. Even if our third bid, let's say it's 55 million. Take the 55, 60 million.
Question. What do you think he's valued at? And do you think that that's good that Man United are given almost a take it or leave it kind of stance with it? I don't think that they'll go further in terms of, and they're just leaving it on the table. They're going for other people in the market as well, Yoros, the Ligt as well. So we're not making it as like a main priority, but what do you think he's worth in the market?
I think United right now are valuing him correctly. Not maybe if the market was more scarce, there's the whole basic economics of supply and demand. If there wasn't a lovely fresh supply of a pool of centre-backs that are available, even those in the Prem, those in La Liga, and then you go to like Liga Portugal with what's his name? From Sporting. Then you've got Antonio Silva at Benfica. These are like high value centre backs. But it's not like there aren't any out there. Like United can bid 50 million for Branthwaite, and then if that gets rejected, they're going, fine, all right, we'll drop that money on Yoro. That bid's been accepted. Sorry, Everton, you could have had 50 million. You could have 55 million. I believe the Times said they're going for one more bid. I think that will be the final bid, and I reckon that will be accepted. If it's around 55, 60 million, which I think is a little steep. But if United feel it's worth paying that, this new United with Ashworth, Wilcox, Barada, all of them lot, if they believe that's worth paying for, then fine. But I think 70 million is ridiculous.
And I think the bid for Yoro, the day after our bid for Branthwaite got rejected, was a clear sign from Ineos to say to Everton, and maybe to everyone else, to all other clubs, to say, we're not going to get, hung up on one player. If you reject a bid which we see is sensible, we will look at other options. We will put in bids for other options. And I think that's a good move. That's a very good move. Because like you said, I think 55 million for a player who realistically has had one good season. He's showed promise in other seasons.
At a top 5 league.
He's shown promise in the Dutch league, for example, under Ruud van Nistelrooy. He showed promise. But there's nothing to say, he wasn't, it's not like everyone was talking about him at the time. And even at Everton, he's had a very good season, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't wowed people. He's been solid. He's been very good. Yoro, on the other hand, I think is a little bit different in terms of they can go, no, we're not going to accept 50, 55 million because the kid's 18 years old. The technical level as a centre-back he's been showing is unbelievable. Branthwaite is very good, but technically he hasn't shown the talent that Yoro has had. And we also know as an 18-year-old, he's going to build up a little bit. Right now he's a little bit on the leaner side. So I think you can maybe justify going a bit higher money-wise for someone like Yoro because he's 18. For Branthwaite, if they want more than 55 mil, for me, you walk away.
I think, I just accept it, man. Like, you're Everton.
Yeah, you walk away.
At the end of the day, you're Everton. We are Manchester United, and we're not that Manchester United. We are this Manchester United. If that makes sense. The only thing with Yoro though is that he's in his final year of his contract. So Lille don't have too much of a leg to stand on. Hence why I think they accepted United's bid. When's Branthwaite's contract up? It will be a few years at least, right?
He's fine.
So Everton, they do have a leg to stand on. They're an established Premier League club. They managed to avoid relegation. Their financial stuff, I think it's mostly over because we passed the deadline and they seem to be at least kind of okay. They do have a leg to stand on, but I think that leg ends at around 50, 55 million, which is what we bid.
Yeah.
And I do want to touch on the Yoro thing.
Yeah.
So, Yoro, the situation. He has said, I want to play for Real Madrid. Guys, like he's told everyone, like, guys, I want to play for Real Madrid. And Man United have still gone, I think there's a bit there. There's a bit of you, a little bit of you, that goes, oh, Man United, you know. And
Sir
you know,
Alex,
maybe
Sir Alex Ferguson would have done that.
Yeah, and maybe
Something
you know,
like
Varane's maybe in his ear. You know, a little bit. Hopefully, Varane goes, no, nice team, good team. Go replace me, bro. Because he's a bit like we've said before. He's like Varane.
Yeah.
Tall, lean, 2-footed, great in the air, good with his feet. Like a good player. But I think you know, it's a they've set a precedent early with United by going seemingly toe to toe with Real Madrid. Even if we lose, we're like, oh, whatever. He wanted to go to Madrid to start with. We're just having a punt. But you know, they're trying to go toe to toe with Real Madrid with an 18-year-old signing who will be across Europe one of the best centre backs for the next 15 years. I think it sets a precedent, and you know, I like us for that.
Moving like a big club.
Yeah, we are
like a big club, and that's what we want to do now. Like you mentioned earlier, like you know, now that Ineos have come in, they're making kind of moves that you know a footballing structure would make, and especially with our reputation, we are Manchester United. You know, the way that we're behaving with other clubs within our domestic league, it should be kind of the same or more aggressive for big talents outside of our domestic league, and I kind of agree with what they're doing right now. I think Yoro's one of those players that could potentially be just a very, very good talent. And like you were mentioned before, Nick, you know, you can see his talent level at such a young age now. If you feel like you can purchase him, you definitely have to go in there and put yourself in the shop window. So I really do like what we're doing in terms of, you know, trying to lure him from Real Madrid. And I don't think he'll be able to get minutes, compared to what he could potentially get at Manchester United. You know, Real Madrid have got, you know, a couple players in like Rudiger right now and a few others that are centre back that just he won't be able to start ahead of at 18, I don't think. So at Manchester United, I think the it's still up for grabs, so potentially could still play.
Yeah, it does seem like Real Madrid can't bid as much as we have for him because they bid really low, and they've spoken about how they're basically confident just to wait out until his contract ends and bring him on a free. So maybe they haven't got that much money to go out and buy him. Maybe we can outbid him. It's just a matter of whether Yoro actually wants to come to Man United.
They
over Real
did
Madrid.
just win the Champions League and La Liga. Surely they've got cash. No?
Mbappe.
Through 85 million signing burdens, I've forgotten about that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But one thing I did want to say on the subject of transfers, is it a little bit concerning that we're not really linked to many left backs right now?
Yeah, I guess so. But you know, Luke Shaw's here. I'm happy that Luke Shaw's going to be available. Malacia.
For how long?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And Malacia's not really available. But Harry Amas, man, I really think, you know, Ten Hag mentioned at the beginning of the campaign and pre-season this season, who's going to be the next one, you know, in his interview. Who's going to be the next person to contribute throughout the campaign this year? So I think Harry Amas is someone that will be there, that will, you know, a youth player. You know, we're always good at that, and especially under Ten Hag as well. He's always going to involve some youth talents and give them opportunities, some young prospects. And at left back, he's there. Maybe Reguilon, and I know you're saying we haven't been touted for, and you know, no one's been linked to us, but I'm pretty sure there was a player at Bournemouth as well at the beginning of the season as well.
Name.
Kirakez or something.
Oh,
someone will know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's
the Hungarian guy.
Yeah, there's been players that we're looking at, but like you said, nothing's been, you know, odds on. It's a massive worry that we're still holding on to Luke Shaw. That's not very available.
Yeah, my concern more than Shaw is Malacia, because I feel like you know what you're gonna get with Shaw. He's probably gonna play maybe 30, 35, really pushing it 40 games a season max, right? My concern then is, okay, when we don't have Shaw, who's going to be there? And Malacia, he's been out for basically near a full calendar year now.
Yeah,
it is a full calendar year now.
There you go. And even if when he comes back, hopefully he comes back, who is coming back? Because when you're out for a year with a knee injury, with that many problems like, occurring again and again, you don't know what player is going to come back. So Malacia for me is really my main concern. And then I like the idea of Amas coming in, but if Shaw gets injured, Malacia is either injured or not that guy. I don't want to have to rely on Amas to be starting week in, week out. That's my main concern in terms of the left back position.
I do want to say though on Harry Amas, so pre-season all the young players have come back, and something that maybe not enough people have mentioned is the shirt numbers. Shirt numbers I think are a good indication of, you know, where a player is at the squad, apart from if someone wants to keep a number like Foden 41 or whatever. it's a good indication of how important they are. And Amas has gone from 70 to 41, which I think is a big shirt number change.
Yeah.
And Ethan Wheatley has gone from 84 to 36. So as you mentioned, Marcel, Ten Hag said, who's going to be the surprise next season? These two, I think, are being lined up for something. Like we saw Wheatley make his debut last season.
Yeah, it was alright.
Which I was there for. I'm really happy I was there for. It's the one time I got to Old Trafford last season. I was there, final 10 minutes against Sheffield United. Wheatley came on. Yeah, were you?
So was I. Yeah,
oh, shit.
I forgot.
But
I forgot that was his debut.
Yeah, it was his debut. And then Amas hasn't made his debut yet, but he's so university rated within the academy and everything. I do think, I'm not saying that there's going to be any sort of Kobbie Mainoo-esque stuff coming on this season, but
There will be.
Yeah, I hope
Well,
so.
you think Amas is going to be Kobbie Mainoo-esque? I don't. No one's being Kobbie Mainoo-esque. Before you say anything, no one's doing what Mainoo's just done.
Or because I shouldn't have cut you for that because it's generational what Kobbie's been doing. But I think Amas is in there for that kind of level of influence, or definitely Toby Collier, I think his name is. Toby is, and in terms of the six, Brighton. He's at United now, and I think Ten Hag spoke to him at the end of the FA Cup. He's got Ten Hag knows what he's looking for in these youth players, and I think he could have a really big influence. And maybe Ahmad comes in and really surprises even Ten Hag, because I don't think Ten Hag
Ahmad
always.
or Amas?
Ahmad.
Ahmad, okay.
Yes, we've already seen him, but in terms of contributing and making a big impact in the team, I think he still has a lot to prove for us.
I reckon he'll be our starting winger. Wow. Yeah, like right
I
winger.
really like that.
Unless we buy another right winger.
I really like that you said
Only
that.
thing I'll say is
who's going to...
I still really like Garnacho on the right.
I like Garnacho on the right, but I think Garnacho is going to, from the start, at least the start of the season, Garnacho is going to be on the left, I think.
I really like that you said that, Dylan, because Anthony, I feel like Ten Hag's got a really, favouritism to a degree with Anthony. He's always going to give him politics, always going to give him opportunity.
Man. Have you seen how many times he didn't rely on Anthony towards the end of
and
last
put him
season?
at left back and he was moaning Anthony's personality.
I think even Ten Hag's patience now is starting to wear thin with Anthony a bit.
I'm not happy because I want him to do well, but Ahmad really, I think, can contribute more than Anthony. So you would really want him to push and contribute massively,
really think he is.
how Kobbie's contributed.
There was a report from Manchester Evening News about a month ago saying that Ahmad is now... It was after we didn't sign Elise, came out basically being out the club, and I just see Ahmad as, an integral first-team member.
Oh, that's very good news.
And I think he should be.
Yeah,
even though he only played 5 games towards the end of the season. Bro, he was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised. The injuries have hurt him, but I was surprised. I was like, bro, this guy's good. Immediately came in, scored that goal against Newcastle, which was beautiful. He scored. Did really well against Arsenal and then Liverpool and all that. And it's just like,
he's very good.
A good winger.
Yeah.
You know what, as well, on the subject of young players and Erik Ten Hag right now, whether you're a young player at Man United, well, let's say you're a young player at Man United, how nice is it to see that, all right, in its first season, Garnacho broke through.
Yeah.
In its second season, Kobbie Mainoo has broke through. And not just broken through, but actually gotten real first-team opportunities.
Yes.
And then, even if you're a young player, 16, 17, 15 years old at another club, and Man United are coming in for you, and you've seen what's been going on, that's a huge plus for us right now. We are an attractive club for you for young players.
Yes,
like a young player right now, I'm sure the academy at Man City are doing great things. But you're not going to Man City to get first-team opportunities.
Facts.
You're not doing it. Even Arsenal, realistically, you're not really getting into the first team. We're giving young players a real chance in the first team. And that, despite the up and downs that Erik Ten Hag's had, that's one thing that I've always loved about him.
We're going to clip that and send that to Leny Yoro.
Yeah.
We're gonna be like, bro, I've got your PR guy's email. Watch this, Nick knows.
I've got a proposition for you, brother. Talk to me.
You and Rio Ferdinand. Rio Ferdinand was making a plea to him the other day as well.
Was he?
Yeah, he went on his pod and basically he literally looked at the camera and was like, Leny Yoro, please join Man United, please. He was begging for it. He's a good player. He's got the cosign.
Yeah, but between me and Rio, I reckon he might listen to me a bit more.
I reckon so.
Right,
this is what the devil on United view, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah. But we're gonna quickly move on from that.
Very quickly.
On to Manuel Ugarte. So obviously we've been linked with endless centre backs, and we talked about left back already, and with strikers, we'll get on to that.
Yeah.
But Ugarte. So it seems there was a report in Portugal saying that we've basically given up on João Neves, which is fair, bro. Well, bro's at 500 million, great player, but a bit too much money. Ugarte seems to be set at around 40 million or something, is what some reports are saying. But aside from the fee, is he the kind of player who will help Kobbie Mainoo? Because realistically, at this point we know bro, you go all in on Kobbie Mainoo.
Yeah.
Spend limitless cash to make sure that guy's got a partner.
Yeah.
Because then you will win everything. Like we've seen with England, we've seen with Man United. Like wow. But is Ugarte going to be that guy?
I really, my thing right now is an anchorman 6 or destroyer type 6. But is that even? Sometimes I think to myself, because Kante's got that ability, but he's really energetic as well. So do you need somebody like a Paulinho that is not maybe as energetic as Kante, but still the destroyer type 6? Or do you need someone that covers the ground a bit more like Kante and can play as well? And I think like Ugarte's got that kind of blend of a bit of both. He's just not as quick. But it's really important to have a partner for Kobbie, man. So, I think it's definitely got to be someone that can do the 6 role very well and allow Kobbie to free roam and just express himself. If he wants to attack, allow him to attack. If he wants to help out in defence, let him help out in defence. We saw in the Euros just against Holland just the other day. He can play tackles in his own third. He can make tackles in the forward lines. He can break lines. It's just everything he can do. So you need somebody like Declan Rice-esque, that can just hold down that, and make the right connection between the midfield line and the defensive line, while you just let him roam in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah, I think you do need a destroyer type midfielder in there just to break up play and just give Kobbie and Bruno that just cover behind him. I think in terms of what you just said about either covering the space or being a bit more of a Paulinho type player, I think if you look at our transfers or the people we've been linked to this summer, we are definitely trying to improve the physicality of the squad. Because I think we've noticed many times this season that as a team, we're actually a little bit on the weaker side.
Yeah.
Like if you look at what Arsenal and Man City have done, and part of the reason why they've excelled to the top is because as a team, they are physical, they are strong. They will not only technically beat teams, but they'll bully teams as well. And that is something that we need. And Ugarte, although he's not the tallest, I think he's 6 foot, he's strong. He's very strong, and so he will definitely bring a sense of physicality to the midfield.
Yeah, because Arsenal especially, they have that triangle of Rice,
Saliba.
Gabriel and Saliba.
Yeah, solid.
Saliba, man.
Solid.
I knew he was good.
It hurts.
And it's just the last 2 seasons I've
It
got.
hurts. Only thing I will say, for any Arsenal fans, I don't know why you're watching, but if you are watching, just know in a few years he's going to Real Madrid. I'll be honest.
He probably is.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. Sorry, producer. I'm sorry. It is the truth.
Well, they are some daggers I've not seen in a while. I've not seen them. But yeah, I think no, you are 100% right. We need that physicality. So there was a report the other day saying that Ten Hag apparently is looking more at a 4-3-3. Don't know what kind of 4-3-3, but I'm going to assume it would be Kobbie and Bruno as 8s, and then a destroyer type 6. So the kind of Ugarte profile that you guys are saying, the profile he is, because I don't know too much about him, seems like he'd be that kind of guy who can sit there and then let Mainoo and Bruno share kind of the creative role as 2 kind of free-ish roaming 8s.
Yeah.
With then Rashford and / Garnacho on the left, Ahmad / Garnacho / Anthony on the right, Højlund / probably Zirkzee, I don't know how to say his name, up front.
We'll get to it.
But we'll get there. But we're going to keep talking about Kobbie Mainoo for now. Because we can't not talk about last night.
How long have we got?
Bro,
How long have we got?
This guy, I think we've got about 40 minutes we can spend on Kobbie Mainoo.
I love him.
But yeah, just last night, Kobbie Mainoo, I knew he was good. We all knew he was good. But I sit there and I almost laugh to myself. I'm like, how have we got this guy?
Look at him.
How have we got him?
Look at him.
Oh, he's so adorable as well. he's so likable.
Yeah,
I saw a TikTok today which really made me laugh about just almost taking the mick about how calm and composed and almost unbothered he is. So every pass is just like a here. Every flick is like a over there. Every turn is just like a I'm going that way. It's not like someone who's playing at a million miles an hour like Garnacho. Plays at a million miles an hour. His kind of hands are everywhere, like Adama Traore, where his hands are everywhere and everything. He's just so calm, composed, 19 years old, like front and centre of European football, and he made Declan Rice look like the debut guy. Like, genuinely, he did. Declan Rice didn't have a fantastic game, but mate, my proposal is what I'm talking about this topic, is obviously it's Spain, England in the final. You've got Kobbie Mainoo and you've got Lamine Yamal. So off camera before we had a little chat about Yamal and Marcel, you're a massive fan.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is, does this game decide who wins Young Player of the Tournament? Or is that in the bag anyway?
That's a great question. It's a very good question. And I guess it does. They've both been spectacular throughout the tournament, and they're both at such a young age really influential players in their teams. So that's a really good question, and I think depending on how they contribute in a final, in a
You think
big,
it's all down to
oh,
what happens?
yeah.
on
I
Sunday?
mean, but Kobbie's naturally in every single game that he plays, he does something that's just spectacular. That's just like, I want to say generational, but it's like above. It's a world-class piece of skill, a pass, anticipation, breaking through the lines with dribbling. It's every single game he contributes that. And so does Jamal at times as well. He's got extremely good technique. So
Bro,
let's
that
see.
goal,
Oh,
outrageous.
so
Silly.
but I think regardless, I think they're both gonna help define the best moments in their generation of football. I still think Kobbie's maybe better, and to your point off camera as well, you said because he does things in the middle of the park, it's maybe more of a, we can rate that a bit higher of a player that does something in the middle of the park compared to someone that does something in wide areas. But as Yamal maybe gets more influential, he might go up into the 10 position, and same for Kobbie really. Maybe I was thinking that Mason Mount maybe gets the keys to the 10, but it could be Kobbie, as he gets better and improves. So let's see what he does in the Euros on Sunday, I believe it is.
Yeah, Sunday evening.
Yeah, so let's see what he does on the Sunday. But Kobbie's special, man. He just, everything that he does is very high level. I think we have to listen to Ten Hag in terms of what he warned us last season, though. When he makes the mistakes, or let's not get on his back when
Just
he does.
chill.
Yeah, it's not even just chill. I think because we should, be very happy and praise him and continue to kind of like, compliment him in good ways. But it's like, when the bad times do come, still support him, back him, because they're gonna come for every top player. Undoubtedly, it's gonna happen. So when that does happen, just still support him and allow him to develop the new level.
Yeah. I mean, look, Kobbie, can't really say much else in terms of positivity that we haven't already said. The thing is, for me, in terms of when you're talking about player of the tournament, or young player of the tournament, sorry, is that I think a lot of it will come down to what do you as a fan prefer? Because their profiles are, of course, very different. One's a winger and one's a 8 kind of player. It's a tough one because, for me, I love central midfielders. I love the ability that Kobbie has to take the ball off the midfield with pressure on his back and release the pressure, get out of it and find a pass, start the attack. I love that part of the game. But if you take out my bias, all of our bias, if you take out our love for Kobbie, the headlines that Lamine has written, to be fair to him, at 16 years old, started every single game. The goal he scored in the semi-final, I think it's a little bit difficult to take that title away from Lamine.
Yeah,
I love it to be Kobbie. I really, really would. But 16.
But imagine if he scores 2 goals. Like, I think it does depend on the game. Imagine if Kobbie runs the game.
Obviously, yeah. If he runs it, but the thing is, in a Southgate system, Kobbie isn't allowed to run the game. He's not given that freedom.
He was towards the end.
Against Holland,
No. He can run it from a deeper position. But when you're talking about, right, who's going to write the headlines? Who's going to get the assist? Who's going to write the goal? Who's going to make the memorable moments? Because don't get me wrong, we love watching what he does in the moment. But in a year's time, it's going to be who scores the goal that is remembered. And that, for me, is...
But yeah, the bit that United fans can remember from last season is Mainoo's goal in the final.
Of course.
Like, out of everything.
His goal against Liverpool as well. His goal against Wolves. Those are the moments which really... The goal against Wolves, I lost my mind. I absolutely lost my mind.
Wow. I don't think I've ever gone from such dismay to such jubilation in the space of about a minute and a half.
Because we were 2 up and then we dropped the 2-goal lead.
Anthony. Then just gives Anthony the hand. Like, come on, bro. Let me just celebrate with fans right now.
Oh, crazy goal. That was the game after his first goal as well, wasn't it, against Newport?
Might have been, yeah.
He scored that first goal against Newport, which was a nice finish. Then he came up with that.
But the one thing I will say about Kobbie is I think, because he didn't start the first 2, he started the rest.
Yeah. No, he didn't start any group games.
None of them.
First start.
Okay, so he didn't. Yeah.
So
he
didn't. 16.
So he didn't start any of the first. I think since coming into the team, probably been our most consistent. Consistent player, I would say. Yeah,
I agree.
But Lamine, it's hard to go against him. And to be fair, if you're talking young players as well, I think you can probably put Musiala in that discussion as well. I know he went out in the quarters.
He went out too early.
Yeah, but
I feel like you can't give a player an award if they don't make the semis.
Fair, so I get that.
Nico Williams.
Lamine probably outshines him a little bit, I reckon.
Yeah, but because they're both in the same team. Yeah. I reckon player of the year, player of the tournament, my shout was Danny Olmo. Because I think he's been amazing. Like, if I'm going off, you can't give anyone the award who's not been in the semis. Like, I know obviously there have been other great players in the other teams and stuff, but like I just think Olmo's been awesome.
That's a tough one though, you know. Player of the tournament. No one really
because Olmo has been the guy. I know, like Lamine Yamal is like that guy in the Spain team, blah, 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 but in terms of like actual
influence,
like the best player and influence in the team, it has been him or like Rodri. But obviously Rodri always wins every award.
Yeah.
I imagine Kobbie ends Rodri's unbeaten
with
Spain as well.
With Spain.
So Rodri's not lost a game with Spain in 471 days. I was reading this yesterday. It's 470 yesterday. It's 471 as of today.
I hate how good
Mainoo already ended his winning streak in the FA Cup final,
and he bullied them in that game as well.
Kovacic,
yeah. But what about Saka then? I know he's had big moments for England.
I don't think you can give an England player play of the tournament because England took too late to kick in.
Yeah,
Spain have won every single game. They've steamrolled basically everyone they've played, bar Germany, who was the second best team in the tournament.
Fact.
Still beat them at the end of the day.
Fact.
I think almost just been that guy from game 1 to the final.
England have only won. England have only won 2 games in 90 minutes. I think.
Yeah.
Serbia and Netherlands.
Yeah.
The rest were all extra time penalties.
Yeah.
Kobbie to score in the final.
Yeah, they've had
England are like they're trudging through each game and they're getting there and they're getting over. It's like Arsenal last season.
Yeah.
Or the season before, that's one of them where it was a 1-0 win. It was a one good moment from Trossard, one good, but like this time it's one good moment from Bellingham, one good moment from Watkins, all that kind of stuff. One good moment from Pickford in the shootout to make that one save to win. Like England have they've been winning on moments.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Spain
France,
have
just been systematically desperate. France have been kind of meh. But
like, but defensively they're still very
Germany
good.
And France were just systematically destroying teams.
It probably does have to be someone from Spain. Yeah. Depending on how the final goes, that might decide it. If Olmo goes and scores a goal and gets an assist, probably
then you're like, probably game over.
Yeah.
If Bellingham does well, then Bellingham will probably win the play because there's the whole Ballon d'Or.
I'm glad you mentioned it, Dylan. I think he might get it if we win the tournament.
If England win the Euros, he'll probably get the Ballon d'Or.
Because Vinny did have a little bit of a stinky Copa America as well. So Brazil had a stinky Copa America in general.
Yeah.
Bit of a sad sight to be honest, but
yeah. Our boy Garnacho's in the final though.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, it was.
And Licha as well.
I can't even forget Licha for a second.
He's been so good.
They've not conceded when he's played.
Yeah.
The only time they've conceded is after he's come off.
And he bagged himself a goal.
That's true.
He bagged himself a goal.
Who's that?
Yeah. Couldn't tell you. I haven't been able to watch them properly. I've just been keeping up with the highlights because they're all at like 1 a.m. 2 a.m.
I wake up like early in the morning to be like, right, I need to do a tweet about who's, congratulations. And then I saw this morning that Pellistri went out. I'm quite sad because Pellistri, again, I've not watched it, but like, it seems as if he's had a great tournament with Uruguay. So I'll write an article the next day being like, how the Uruguay press reacted to Pellistri's performance, and he's been getting like 7s, 8s out of 10s in the media almost all the time. He's up in his value, Pellistri is.
Yeah, does it both? Yeah, does it both?
It's good for us ultimately because I think he'll get sold.
Yeah.
There's just no space for him, really.
Yeah, I think with Pellistri, I like him. I think his pace is a big factor, but for me, I don't know if he because Man United wingers, especially I know obviously all wingers have to have that little special something about them, but Man United wingers, we know how important our wingers are to our style of play. Pellistri, I like what he does, but it's just, I don't know, he's just not, for me, got that little special skill, a little something to get you out of a troublesome moment, like a Garnacho does, like a Rashford. We've seen him do it. I don't know if Pellistri has that. He can be a good right winger to put crosses into the box, get you assists, but for me, not quite there.
We haven't played a game in a while on this show.
Hey.
So when we started, obviously, as people who have seen most of the episodes, we like to play a little game.
I miss them.
We've played many games. Yeah, you've not played a game in a while.
I haven't.
So I've got 7 true or false stats-based questions from last season. So we've played a few true or false, and they've just been, who's the top scorer, blah, blah, blah. But I went through FBref this morning, and I tried to find 7 stats. I'm just going to say true or false.
Cool.
So first one, Bruno Fernandes made the most appearances for Man United last season of outfield players. True or false?
True.
So Marcel's, you locking in true?
Yes, please. Has to be.
True or false, Nick?
I want to say false because of Diogo Dalot.
That's a good point.
So Nick's saying false, Marcel, you're saying
I'm
true?
sticking with true, of course. It's
It
Bruno.
is false.
Who is it? Is it Diallo?
Dallo and Garnacho both played 50.
Well, how many did Onana play? Onana played more than
Onana
both of
played
them.
50 as well.
50 as well.
Yeah, so I said
Outfield,
And-
yeah, I
so-
know.
and-
I
and
thought
Garnacho
played more than
when you said
Bruno.
Yeah, well, because
outfield.
remember, Bruno missed like 3 games at the end of the season. Garnacho started our last 38 games.
Wow.
Bro, that's wild.
He started 38 in a row. This is why I'm happy that he's not playing for Argentina.
Yeah, I hear
Get
that.
your rest, bro. Go train, keep fit,
But
have your 3 weeks
rest.
holiday, rest, and then come back ready for the season. So Dallo and Garnacho both got 50. Bruno got 48.
Nice.
It's just because of that hand thing at the end of the season. Mason Mount played under 800 minutes last season.
True.
True or false?
True.
Nick's gone true.
Let's go false.
Just for the chaos.
Just for the
Just
chaos.
the difference.
It is true. He
Ah.
played 759,
Oh, that's close.
which
Thing
is
is,
like
I can barely
790s
remember
or
any
890s.
90-minute games of Mounts.
I
Maybe
don't-
the one
he-
Carabao Cup.
I
Crystal
don't think he
Palace?
played 90 at all. Or if he did, maybe he played
Feel
one.
for him
yeah.
a little bit.
I think he'll be worth.
I
the
reckon
value,
he's gonna
though.
have a good season
Yeah,
next season.
yeah, I agree.
I'm not just saying that because I keep getting.
Where
told
does
that
he play
like
on
it.
the pitch though? Where does he play?
Well, if we're doing the whole 4-3-3 thing, he'll play as one of those 8s. You know, then you've got Bruno, Mainoo, and Kobbie who can all play as one of those 8s, so one of them can always get some sort of rest.
Yeah, off the bench though, in terms of our strongest 11, and I know that's not really important because there's going to be so much football played this
he's
season.
not our strongest 11, but if we're playing in the Europa League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup,
Yeah.
We're gonna need him.
and
Yeah.
Premier League, I don't want to see Kobbie Mainoo starting more than 40 games next season.
Facts. Yeah.
I don't. So when we're not playing Kobbie Mainoo, we've got their Mason Mount to slot in there. He's a really good technical 2-touch player who will just look to progress the ball constantly, can play well with Luke Shaw, can play well with Marcus Rashford on the left
If
wing.
you really wanted to, you could put him right wing as well, probably.
Yeah.
He's played in that
Like-
kind of position as well.
I think Mount will play a really good role for us next season.
Hopefully.
But question 3. Johnny Evans played the most minutes out of all of United's centre-backs last season. Wow. True or false?
That could very well be true. Varane injured. Lissandro not even close.
Then you got Lindelof, Camboire, and Maguire.
Nah, it's true, you know. I reckon it's true.
Yeah, I think that's true as well.
It's true.
Are you both saying true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's false.
Oh,
Yeah.
Who played more than him?
Maguire. So Johnny Evans
came back towards
played
the end, didn't he?
1,598 minutes. Maguire was the highest with 2,314.
Oh, by quite some.
Yeah,
distance
and
as well.
Evans was 4th.
What?
So Varane and Lindelof both played more. Still.
Varane did play quite a bit.
Varane played quite a bit. It's his second half of the season Varane missed, but he played a lot of the first half. Remember, Evans was out for a couple of months as well at one point.
Yeah, he
Well, like
was.
6 weeks or something.
All of them.
Number 4, Anthony Martial played fewer minutes than Sergio Reguilon last season. True or false? Remember, Reguilon was only here for 6 months, but Martial wasn't there for the second 6 months, basically.
When Reguilon came, he initially started a few, then he kind of got dropped because Shaw came back.
For a bit, and then we got rid of him, then Shaw got injured again.
I'm gonna say true again because I don't even think Martial was fit at the beginning of last season, was he? I don't think so.
What's the question? Reguilon played more minutes than
So
Martial.
Anthony Martial played fewer minutes than Reguilon. True or false?
Yeah, I reckon true.
Yeah, true, yeah.
It is true.
Yeah.
So Reguilon played 654 minutes. Martial played 625.
He should have gone ages ago.
Yeah.
Mad.
Number 5. Oh yeah, how many of you guys got right or wrong? I forgot
only
to
got
actually
one.
calculate. One. You got 2.
Two.
Yeah.
2.
Anthony has more goal involvements than Dallo last season. True or false?
Fairly certain that's false.
Who had more goal involvements, our right winger or our right?
In it. But I'm just trying to think. They've both scored goals. I've seen Anthony assist. I'm just gonna say Delos had more.
Yeah, I'm saying Delos had more as well.
Dallo did have more.
Yeah.
Dallo had 8.
Yeah.
Anthony had 5.
That's so bad. That's
Bro,
It's so
wild.
bad.
You're 80
so
million
bad.
pound
In
winger.
it. That's so
5
bad.
goal contributions. 2 of them against the League 2 side.
Oh.
And then the other 2 of them were away at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, the
yeah.
outside
Cross.
the foot.
Remember
Yeah,
the
The
cross?
outside
one,
the
the
foot.
one thing I'll applaud him for last
Bro,
season.
that
Really
one
good.
game I was thinking,
Yeah.
wow.
Really good.
Number 6. Bruno Fernandes, Diogo Dallo and Alejandro Garnacho are the only 3 players who started all 6 of United's FA Cup games last season. That's a bit of a mouthful, that one. So
Yeah, because
Bruno, Dallo and Garnacho are the only 3 players who started all 6 of United's
'Cause-
FA Cup matches.
Did you say Delo? You said Delo, wasn't it?
Dallo,
Yeah,
Garnacho
true. Yeah,
and Bruno.
true.
So So you think no one else started? No one else started 6.
My only thing is,
Start.
I can't remember. Bayern played one game for us.
No, but I saw Onana at one
I can't
point.
remember if that was Carabao Cup or FA Cup. Because
Oh,
otherwise,
that's a good
Onana
point.
could be in that too. It'd only be Onana though, no one else. I'm gonna say
True or false?
I'm going with true.
Marcel's saying true. Nick?
I'm gonna go false just for chaos.
It is true.
Ah.
So the one game Bayern played was FA Cup third round against Newport.
There you go.
And then so McTominay and Mainoo also played 6 but only started 5.
Right. Okay.
Final one, number 7. Only 5 United players scored in the Champions League last season.
Only 5 Man United players scored in the Champions League.
Yeah, last season.
All right. So Bruno, Garnacho, Højlund. I don't think Rashford scored. You know.
McTominay.
You got sent off.
McTominay. Yeah. Who? I might say that's true because I can't even think of a 5th. Oh, Maguire scored against Copenhagen.
Uh-huh.
Who else, bro?
True or false? I'm pushing you for an answer.
I'm gonna say true because I can't think of anyone else.
Marcel?
I'm going to say false. It's true though. Shit.
It is false.
Ah!
You forgot that. You forgot Casemiro.
Oh,
Double against
Bayern.
Yeah, opening game. Even I forgot that game.
I
Yeah, so
luckily
it was
got that.
Højlund, Bruno, Garnacho, Casemiro, McTominay, Maguire.
Okay.
Oh, McTominay. Oh, I got.
I think, did you guys get 3 each in the end there?
Yeah,
I think I got 4. I
I think he
If
got
you
a
got
dub.
4,
I think
then,
he just about got a dub.
then there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah, you got the last 2 right, didn't you?
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
But,
So,
yeah, some depressing stats there.
that is some
Yeah.
poor stats, bro.
There was-
Interesting season though, man.
Yeah,
Part of the
one to
process.
forget. One
Terrible
to forget.
season.
But I want to remember for just for Kobbie Mainoo.
Yeah.
But so looking forward to next season.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
on to pick goals, you know, our top scorer got 16. Like Højlund individually, I think overall I think he had quite a good season. 16 goals in your opening season.
Not bad.
If you kind of strip all context, you go Fez. But then the fact that he was top scorer, next one was Bruno on 15, and then McTominay and Garnacho on 10 each, I believe. But looks like we're signing a new striker
Yeah.
in Joshua.
Zirkzee.
I'm gonna say Zirkzee, but I know that's wrong.
Yeah.
But if I say the way I think it's said, which is like Zirkzee, I sound American, and I don't want that.
Zirkzee
But-
is for now.
So we got Zirkzee in.
Yeah.
Probably, like it looks like basically it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
And even like Kobbie Mainoo after the game last night went up to him and was like, what are you saying?
That grin on his face was
yeah,
evil.
like, they knew,
It
they
was
knew.
evil.
But he's not the only, attacking person we're bringing in because we've got Ruud van Nistelrooy. He was pictured today or yesterday, I believe, out with Ren Hake or Hack and Ten Hag.
Yeah.
And Ruud, he's a cool guy. Cool guy. Like he's managed at PSV for a little bit. He managed Branthwaite. But ultimately, he's just a deadly, deadly striker. United, Real Madrid, absolute king. 150 goals in 219 games.
Oh, just sounds
which
so
is
good.
a disgusting ratio.
Bro.
Just sounds.
He was incredible, and it clearly he can coach as well. Like it's not just like he was a good striker. He can tell Højlund to put it in the back of the net. Like this guy knows how to coach players, and he's Dutch. Zirkzee coming in. He's like we spoke off camera a little bit before. Zirkzee, I've been looking at some clips of him, and he's not what I expected. He's got a good strike on him, it seems. I looked at some of his goals. He does have a good strike, but like as you said before, Nick, like you'll expand on it. But like he's not necessarily a number 9. He seems a little bit more like like a 9.5, almost like a false 9 or a 10 maybe. But you've got Ruud van Nistelrooy in that training ground every single morning, teaching someone like Zirkzee, who seems to have, good ball to feet abilities, can hold up play, the Martial type-esque striker. And you've got Ruud van Nistelrooy to teach him how to finish and how to, and same with Højlund, how to, get on that final ball, get in that box, get that goal. It's looking good.
Yeah. Do you want to go first on this?
When you go to the training ground, all you have to do is keep quiet and listen to him. Don't even say anything back to him. Apply what he's told you and then come back to him after with your results. That's the kind of thing that when this is an elite man inside the box. He can drive with the ball. So much things you can learn about, tapping finishes, even heading ability, just all types of finishes this guy understands at the creme de la creme top level. So I'm just really, really excited about this prospect. And for someone like, Ruud van Nistelrooy to come back to the club now, it's just going to give that kind of Man United feeling back in the club, and this is what we've been longing for, and as somebody almost that, I know Ineos have done it maybe potentially for other reasons as well. If plan A doesn't work with, proceeding with Ten Hag, then this could be a potential interim to step in type manager. And they've got two, people working under Ten Hag that are almost manager-esque, they've coached and managed
Van
other
Heck
clubs.
literally was a manager or Go Ahead Eagles.
So
what a name, by the way.
There's there's so much positive energy there and leadership type energy there that's going to be in the club now, and overseen by Ten Hag, making final decisions here and there. I'm so excited for the forward line. You were saying, lack of goals last. You just mentioned it, didn't it, in terms of lack of goals, and now you've just brought a Bagsman into the club, and I'm just, it's just really exciting.
It's not even armband, it's like it's the Bagsman.
Yeah.
It's just like the Bagsman.
Yeah.
And he's there. His secrets of the trade.
Yeah.
I'm especially excited with Højlund because the one thing with Højlund is that he seems like he is eager, and at times we've seen that his movement is class. But there's just a couple, there's some holes in his game in terms of maybe not being quite in the right position or taking the wrong type of shot. Like was it in the Euros against someone? It was against Germany. He decided to take an extra step before chipping it over Neuer. So it's like those little fine margins which turn a decent striker into, like if you say, like a Bagsman. And hopefully Ruud van Nistelrooy, we'll tell him what to do. He'll add that little extra bit to both strikers.
So, a few things I'll say about Ruud. Yeah. First of all, I love the video of him walking around Manchester, looking classy, looking nice, clean, and he's got the earphones in, just bopping about with his phone. I love that aura, man. He doesn't care. He's just bopping about Manchester. He's back home. He's all right. First of all, I just love that about him. Yeah. Secondly, the fact that he was at United when we were. When he was there, he was a little bit up and down, to be fair, because Arsenal were really good at that time. But the fact that he understands the culture of winning at Man United, the fact that he played under Sir Alex Ferguson, that's another addition which is going to be good on top of McLaren, who's already there, who gets it. But also, one thing about which was interesting was the fact that Burnley went in for him. Burnley were offering him the managerial role at Burnley, and I just wonder if there's a little side of Ruud which is thinking, if it goes south with Erik ten Hag, I just want Man United to know I can coach a first team. I wonder if that's a little part, because I don't know. There's obviously attractions with coming to Man United as an assistant coach, but obviously these guys, they want to be a first team. If you've gone from being a first team coach, you want to continue in that role. So I do also just wonder if that's at the back of his mind when he's come and taking this job. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And you could see that potentially happen. And I think Ineos, I've made that little tactical ploy there. And then in terms of from his perspective as well, someone like Ruud van Nistelrooy, I think he's got the personality for it, you know. So I agree with you. It's something potentially that's there to look at. Plus learning the trade under, two other managers there in Rene and both Ten Hag. So lots and lots of creative, and footballing interest just injected into the club right now.
Yeah. But, I do agree with you in terms of I think he'll be a little bit better for Højlund, actually, than Zirkzee. Because you know what it is with Zirkzee? I feel like Man United have looked at Højlund's season and gone, all right, he's making a lot of the good movements. He's scored a few goals. There have been games where he's made an impact. But there's also, to be fair, been a few games where, not because of it's not his fault, but his influence on the game has been quite minimal because we haven't been able to get the ball to him. He hasn't been involved. So I do wonder if they brought in Zirkzee and thought, right, in those games where we feel like Højlund might not have an impact, or he's played 60 minutes and he hasn't had an impact, we can bring in Zirkzee, who is more of a 9.5, like we said, who is actually going to come drop deeper and force himself to get involved, so that we don't have a striker who's necessarily not getting involved in the game, if that makes sense.
So you think Højlund's actually going to be the one to start the games?
I think he is still number one. I reckon so. But I reckon there will be certain games where they look at Zirkzee and think, he might make more sense for this game, because this might be a game where we struggle to get service into Højlund a little bit.
I think that's a really good point, because I don't actually think... Well, I thought Zirkzee would be coming as number one. Ten Hag did mention, when Martial was around and available, that we play our best football when Martial's around. And I think Zirkzee is maybe an improvement on Martial. I think it might also be an improvement. Ruud van Nistelrooy might be better for Zirkzee, because that's the area of his game where he doesn't excel. That work beyond the defensive line, in between, that space between the last defender and the goalkeeper. Ruud is very good at, approaching that area very well and getting the tap-in finishes and just any kind of work inside the box. Zirkzee is, like we were saying, a 9.5, a 10.5, whatever you want to call it. He works in the half space and picks up the ball well. So, but you're right. You know, Højlund makes very good, aggressive, direct runs, and so did Ruud, and he was very direct as well. So maybe Ruud will improve any striker
Of course.
in world football. That's just a
100%.
fact. So
100%.
I think they both will learn so much. I think it's their job to kind of just absorb everything that he's telling them, and try to apply it in their own style. But really interesting that you would say Højlund would start. I think because there was times where he started to come off the bench and a lot towards the end of the season, and we used him as energy, because I think he'll have more legs than Zirkzee in terms of dynamic running and turnovers and pressing with Bruno. But let's see what kind of presser he is, because we haven't seen him. We didn't see him get much used in the Euros much. So
to be fair, it could come down to form.
Yeah.
Who starts?
Yeah.
The reason why I'll go with Højlund in terms of what I think Man United view him as the first choice is because 70-something mil is a fair amount of money, a bit more than Zirkzee as well, and I think that they will see Højlund's ceiling as higher as Zirkzee's. I reckon so. And that's why I think they'll go for him. But it's nice to have competition either way. It's good to have, and a different profile striker for what the game needs. So it's nice.
Facts.
So this is a slightly alternative take, but at the moment, there seems to be, like, due to players like Haaland and previously like Ronaldo when he was playing striker and stuff, there seems to be this obsession there has to be a bona fide number one striker and then a backup striker. In the way that, at City it's Haaland and then is the striker, and Julian Alvarez is the backup striker, and just other clubs but you don't have to have that. Like Ten Hag said many times, he wants two world-class players or two good players, reliable, trustworthy players in every single position. So it could just be that the two players, Zirkzee and Højlund, they're both going to be number one choice, or one of them's going to be number one, depending on who we're playing, or depending on the game, like you said, the game scenario. I feel like because they are so different, it seems, as strikers, their skill sets are different. It could just be a case of Højlund might start one week and score, and then midweek we're then playing a different team that requires someone like Zirkzee with his abilities to drop deeper because we want to attack the wide spaces against a different team. So Højlund's then dropped and Zirkzee comes on, even if Højlund scored the week before. And then if we play a team with a really high line, you've got Højlund might come back on the weekend because Højlund's, he's the quick one, the fast one. He's like the fastest player in our squad. So we just could not have a number one striker, meaning basically that they might both play 50 games across the season, and it just purely will depend on who we're playing against.
I agree, 100%. I agree. And you know what as well? It's not completely impossible that we sometimes see them together. Say if you're a goal down, last 10 minutes of the game, you throw on Zirkzee because he can operate in that 10 area. It's not impossible that we see them both as well. It's really not.
In a 4-4-2 or something.
Yeah, or like a 4-2-4, even something like that with the wingers.
Yeah, chasing a goal and then you
chasing a goal. Yeah, it could happen as well. I'm not saying we're going to do it from the get-go.
I think it gives Ten Hag tactical flexibility, which even though people are saying, Jason Wilcox is going to tell him to play a certain way, Jason Wilcox isn't going to be there being like, no, you have. He's not going to have his number at 45 minutes at Old Trafford.
In the middle of the half-time team talk.
Wilcox is going to walk down and go, nah, Ten Hag, you take this. Ten Hag's still going to be given. He is still the manager. It's the same contract that he's just signed. He's still the manager and the head coach and the guy. He's still the guy to make the decision. You're starting. You're not. You're playing this way. He's going to be guided by the transfers that Wilcox are making, but as well at the same time, like Dan Ashworth has said previously, they're not going to buy a player that Ten Hag doesn't want at the end of the day. Yeah. It's not like Ten Hag's not going to be able to have a say in transfers anymore. They're going to go, these are the four options of the players that we want. This is my assumption of how it's going to go, and I don't know this, but it's going to be like, we need a striker. We're going to generate these four options. These are realistically who we could get. Ten Hag, you have to pick from one of these four, but you get to choose out of one of these four. And then he's gone for Zirkzee, for example. They've gone, why? And then Ten Hag's gone, he's a different profile. He offers me more tactical flexibility. And then you also Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox. And then going to go, great, cool, you've got a tactical flexibility. We've agreed that you're having this player, but your job now to make it work. At the end of the day, it's still Ten Hag's job to make it work. And he will do what he wants and how he wants to do it to make it work. I feel like this whole thing of Jason Wilcox going to determine the style of play is a bit too much of an oversimplification of what's happening.
And as well, it's quite literally impossible. Like,
Yeah.
unless you're literally with the players, training with them, talking to them, like doing the pre-game talk. It's impossible that someone who's a technical director is going to come in and determine like exactly how we're going to play. There might be a general philosophy, but to be fair, Erik ten Hag's philosophy, front-footed, attacking, taking risks, wing play, that's going to be like how we're going to play going forward. I don't think that's going to change too much. There's going to be a bit more structure to it. It's going to be a bit more less chaos. But I don't think it's going to dramatically change that much.
Yeah.
I don't think it will.
Yeah, I agree. I think depending on the game, I think he'll have influence on how it pans out or what his thoughts will be on it. I remember, Ten Hag crediting, obviously, the structure as a whole for the victory against City. And I'm expecting, that would be, in some ways, of course, Wilcox's kind of advice and, implementing his advice, in terms of how the game order will look. But we're going to have another kind of big game, against City again in the Community Shield. So again, we'll see what kind of, implementation and style of football that, Ten Hag kind of implements and how it will look. So
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's another big final.
That game because we've got the three of us. We feeling pretty good about pre-season then.
Yeah.
From this moment forwards, it's like a.
I'm excited.
We can go. I am excited about United again.
Yeah.
Like pre-season has always been a bit like. Whatever, it's pre-season, and it's in the US, so I'm gonna have to be up at ungodly hours to watch us play Betis.
Yeah,
but there's only 4 or 5 games as well,
which is very
fantastic.
Good. It's very good because 8 games was outrageous.
It was, and then we had like 2 or 3 more behind closed doors as well.
Yeah.
It's like, and then we got a load of injuries.
And then,
shock.
And then didn't we go to the east of America, go to the west of America, go to the east? Like, come on, man, It was too much trouble,
overall. So by the time we next record, we'll have played our first pre-season game. It's on Monday.
Nice.
It's in Norway against Rosenborg or something.
Yeah.
But season starts now.
Yeah.
The pre-season starts now.
Let's get it kicking.
And we're all feeling good about it. Good transfers, good people in, and everything. So
and we've got the Avengers of our board.
We do have the Man United Avengers.
Yeah, which is nice.
Thank you both for coming on.
Of course.
As always, it's a pleasure. We like talking ball. We like talking ball when there's positive ball to talk about. You don't want to be sat here going, Ten Hag out, Ten Hag in. You don't have to beat the Ten Hag drum all the time now. You sorted and you've won, Marcel. You've won.
Yeah, it's done now.
But for those who got to the end of the podcast, thank you very much for watching, as I say every week. And we'll catch you next Thursday. Peace.